Hello and welcome to Magecraft. This custom pack was set up by yours truly and is focused around fantasy, adventure, and most importantly to us, magic. Even the world is filled with this stuff, and I plan to learn how to use it, especially because I plan to battle against 3 bosses that if not defeated will plunge this world into everlasting darkness. Too bad the only guy that can solve the issue is currently homeless. So let's take a nice long look around to see if we can find a place to settle down at. Oh hey, a tower! And some fairies. That's really cool. But let's see what's up here. Oops, ow. Man, I need to learn how to work a ladder. Hey, there's a chest with a paraglider in here. Let's test this sucker out. Oh, this is kind of cool. Out there is our first tower and town. Gotta get over there ASAP. Oh, what a lovely little block palette they got here. And a great color bed. And loot. Even found the first diamond of the world here. Though to be honest, I'm much more interested in that tower over there. Oh, I heard a pillager. This is a pillager tower. Called it. I know these guys are ex-villagers, but man, do they have some emeralds here. Oh geez, I'm under attack. Think I'll be safe up here if I do this. Huh. This looks like a really nice kitchen with a decent bit of food. Tried to escape out of this window, but whoever designed this place put these trapdoors wrong. Clearly the work of one of the 3 bosses. Found more loot in the attic though, and ultimately escaped via the roof. Flew to this thing, kinda liking the aesthetic. Though I think I've decided to settle in this area. We're pretty close to that village and tower, so I think we're quite in the realm of civilization, though I'm not sure for how much longer. Why, you may ask? Well, it's simple. I plan to vein mine the materials to build my house from here. Hey, I did say I liked the block palette, and they're gonna own me for saving the world. So what's a few walls and supports in the face of supporting the hero? Man, I'm about to have the most character arc to ever character arc if I keep talking like that. Anyways, this house is gonna be similar to the one I built on the Create world, just a bit smaller with the tower. I'm also hoping to decorate this one with the spoils of my adventures, so hopefully there's some really cool things out there that will fit the vibe I'm after. After we do the house though, I'm probably gonna need to go mining for a minute, grab the resources I'll need for the future, and then get to cracking on learning my first bit of magic. Speaking of magic, I found a source berry. These things are going to be really useful later on down the line for making mana restoring foods, though something tells me only for a specific type of mana. That's because we have a bunch of different magic mods to choose what we want to learn from. If we want more offensive magic, iron spells will be good. Customizable utility-based stuff is where Ars Novu will shine, and if we ever want to learn to use the power of the world itself, Botania will surely play a role. Though at the moment, our focus should be making sure we actually have somewhere to learn all that stuff at. The progress of my house is coming along nicely. Too bad my enemies know it too. While I was heading up my tower, I spotted something falling from the sky before hearing a loud boom. I looked at what hit the ground and discovered giant blades attached to chains stretching into the sky. And just like that, I was suddenly dead. Something giggly kept killing me repeatedly, and I wasn't sure what was going on until I saw my assailant for a brief moment between deaths. My greatest fear, women. No matter how far I ran, death just kept happening. I wasn't sure what to do until they finally left me alone. They took just about everything from my inventory except for my paraglider. While this happened really early on, it's truly a showing of the dangers that the 3 bosses pose. So we gotta finish our house in defiance. The tower roof is definitely ugly, but it will do for now. And now I gotta figure out our next move. One mod we have is called Cultivate the Eternal Realm, and it's what we're gonna use to become stronger, since I'm pretty sure there will be more assassins as we attempt to make progress. Problem is though, I can't read a lot of the names and items in this mod, so I'll have to find a way to refer to them when I get them. Like this gem from this zombie. I can use it to refill my skills, but can't pronounce its name, so I'll call it a dim crystal. Anyways, it's time to go mining, but I don't plan to use any ordinary tools to do so. We're gonna rock Tinker's Construct tools. This mod is really neat as you can actually get these tables that let you make parts for weapons and actually assemble them, but can't go past stone. At least not like this. To go further beyond simple tools, you need to gather sand, clay, and gravel, mix them into a substance called grout, get that stuff smelting, and ultimately make these things called seared bricks. Now, with a minor amount of reading, I can assemble my first smeltery, the Seared Melter. I also fought this king zombie guy at my bottom floor window. It's not as important, but it did happen. Anyways, the melter isn't really what I want to be using going forward. It doesn't do alloys, it can't smelt certain materials. So instead, let's dump some molten copper onto a full block of seared bricks and get ourselves a smeltery controller. Then we can come back out and assemble this multi-block structure, and once all is said and done, we got ourselves a real smeltery. Unfortunately, we need lava to power this thing, so we gotta take from a nearby surface lava lake to do so. Okay though, I put some iron into the newly powered smeltery and should now be able to pour it onto this sand cast and make something new. There we go, got a pickaxe head. Which is then combined with a tool rod and a binding to make an iron pickaxe. These tinker tools are really neat as we can modify them with things like diamonds and emeralds to get greater benefits. Like now my pickaxe can mine obsidian and it lasts about as long as a diamond pickaxe. And it can be easily repaired with just some iron and never ever actually having to use levels to do so. So into the depths I go. Attempted to fight a king creeper, didn't work. Found some sprites down here, killed this weird skull thing, and then ended up back up on the surface. I saw something down there though, an area that's gonna need a lot more than a simple wooden axe to deal with. So I made some stuff called rose gold in the smeltery out of copper and gold, turned it into blocks, and began laying the groundwork towards making a tinker's anvil. Just gotta craft this like so, and we got our tinker's anvil. It's really just a better version of our pre-existing assembler, but it can make more weapons and tools, so that's nice and good. In fact, it's perfect to work on a weapon. 1 iron sword coming up, upgrades 2, and now we're ready to take on the depths once again. This over here is what I was afraid of earlier, but I see a structure down there. So let's take on the mobs and get to it. I also awakened my spirit while doing this, so now I have 60 health, so that's neat. A few diamonds here, and a proper structure right there. Looking around this place, there's quite a bit of armor here. I'm now rocking a gold chestplate, diamond helmet, and a set of iron pants and boots from exploring around here, so I'd call it worth it. I also found this weird sparkly ore that I assume will be useful at some point. Oh hey look, my hearts are yellow now, though my inventory filled up, so I had to come back. A very successful trip though, but apart from awakening my spirit, it didn't really do all much for me, power-wise. So it's time to go searching for our first bits of magic. Could probably just do some Ars Novu to start, maybe begin learning some Botania, but I need to get stuff for iron spells anyways, so we're aiming for that. But when I came across this tower to begin looting, something wasn't right. See this right here? It's the bones of a dragon. Kinda ominous if you ask me. Maybe don't want to meet the thing that killed a dragon, but we don't have to do it if we just go down here. Welcome to the Dungeon of Hope. I'm not sure of its purpose, but hopefully it can shed some light on our path forward. Oh hey, our first bit of arcane essence. And a spawner. I'm gonna try to preserve as many spawners as I can because you never know when I may need some for mobs or just straight up XP. Especially XP. Anyways, to floor 2 we go. Oh hey, Mage Bloom. I normally have to make this stuff using Ars Novu, but this can let me start growing some already. I'm honestly really liking this dungeon. Actually, to be honest, I was a little bummed that I couldn't have trial chambers in this pack, so having this kind of scratches that itch. But I already cleared out floor 2, so now it's on to 3. Looks like some of these guys are starting to spawn with potion effects. None have been hard so far, but this is really good as hopefully it means that the chests too are spawning with better things. And they totally are as we found our first spells, Ray of Frost and Lob Creeper. Neat. Also found a bundle on the ground, so we have some inventory management. And our third spell, Flaming Barrage, as well as some ink to make more spells later on. Also some diamond pants. Ooh, and a crypt where I ransacked graves. Plus a second one that had a wither skeleton spawner in it, which is actually very useful for stuff that I have planned later. Final floor. Not much to actually say about this one, honestly. Found a lucky scarf, but that was about it. Once I was done there, I did a sweep at the entire place, hoping that I didn't miss anything before we left. I think I got everything from here. Now we're off to... That's a dragon outside. And he's coming inside now. That explains why I found dragon bones outside. Another dragon killed that dragon. But okay, I still want to leave here, so I went and dug my way out and ended up in this cave where, yep, he's still there. I'm unsure if it's a wild dragon or not. Kind of curious to know if the bosses had something to do with this because getting back is not looking so good with this guy around. Luckily, I know a way to escape. Simply crawl into a hole and start our new lives down here. Though, to be fair, I'm in decent equipment after raiding that dungeon, and I have a lot of health from awakening my spirit. So, alright, let's kill this guy. Here he is. Oh geez, he has me in his jaws. I gotta swing like my life depends on it. It let go of me and I fell back into the cave, but when I came back out looking for a fight, the guy seemed to have run off. Guess I was scared for nothing. I'm settling on wild, probably. No trained dragon would run off like that, though that does mean that the boss's next attack is unknown still. Now, back at home, I crafted an ironbound tome, our first spellbook, and used an inscription table to load the spells we found into it, and finally obtained our first bit of real power. Lob Creeper lets me throw a small creeper head that does AoE damage, Fire Barrage shot a shotgun of fire out, and Ray of Frost shot a beam of ice at my opponents. Not a bad selection if you ask me, but I do still need more power. I'm actually a little underwhelmed by our current magic situation just simply due to the fact that our spellbook kinda sucks. To solve that problem, it's looking like I need to go to the Nether and then to an ancient city. The Nether for some stuff called Hogskin, and a city for a ruined book, which can both be used to craft better books for our magic. So away we go. Well, this spawn kinda sucks. Off to find a Crimson Forest, though there's definitely a better way of doing so without knowing where one is. So back at home, I slapped together a nature's compass, looked up the Crimson Forest in the Nether, and realized that the way I'd been heading is in the opposite direction of one. Good thing I thought about that quickly, otherwise I was gonna be looking forever. Oh, here it is. Hogskin comes from Hoglins, so hopefully we can actually get some to spawn. Like right there. Neither dropped it. Oh boy, this doesn't look good. But what does are these weird Hulk mutant zombie looking things. Well, they may not look it, they're totally friendly and even take out potentially hostile mobs for us while also netting us some dim crystals while they're at it. Also, I killed something that looked at me funny and then went back to Hoglin hunting. This one actually did give us some skin and I could technically stop right here. Hogskin crafts into 2 spellbooks, the Apprentice spellbook and the Enchanted spellbook. But the Enchanted one is definitely way stronger due to having double the mana and 2 extra slots in comparison to the Apprentice one. But the Apprentice book needs only 2 Hogskin instead of 4, and Hoglins just aren't spawning much. Like, the ones you've seen so far are the ones that have spawned, and I've been doing this for 30 real minutes. So I hope some more appear soon, as this is not very conducive to getting stronger. This guy isn't a Hoglin, but he dies all the same. Not quite what I'm after either, but same case. Oh wait, here we go. Got 4 Hogskin now, so I'm out of here. I need to get my hands on more Arcane Essence if I want to make any better spell books, so even though we just got back, I need to head right back out to try and find some structures. I came across this weird hut thing with a flooded floor and items for mana and artifice hidden away inside. Kinda useless for us at the moment as I'm trying to find stuff for iron spells, but maybe later on. Found a very orange village and took on a skeleton wizard to steal his arcane essence. But right after that is when I found this. The Jungle Temple. They say this place was a bustling meeting ground for all in its heyday. However, since the bosses came along, this area has been cursed, leaving a once prosperous place to rot into ruins. Unfortunately for those that don't want us here, I don't really care about curses or traps or whatever the bosses did to this place. I want one thing and one thing alone. Arcane Essence. Honestly though, I really don't get why they would abandon this place because most of this stuff that I've encountered here has been honestly really easy to deal with. However, there's no arcane essence here, and though I may not be finding that stuff, there was some kitty slippers in a chest. These bad boys keep creepers at a safe distance and also make a sound like a cat when I get hit. But anyways, I think I'm in the treasure room and it's been trapped by silverfish. Actually, the entire floor is silverfish, so I get why the people left this place now. I don't want bugs in my floor. And honestly, I don't know how this happened, but it escalated kind of quickly. Let's just lob a creeper and get another one down there for good measure. And this treasure is useless to me. Well, that's enough adventuring for me, at least at kind of useless structures. All right, we need to make a better way to discover better structures. But for that, we need cobwebs and a few stone bricks from here, and then take a compass and surround it with the cobwebs and cracked bricks to get an adventurer's compass. This bad boy is like the nature's compass we made to find the Crimson Forest in the Nether, but for structures. I'm gonna head to an ancient city, but need a form of storage to carry all my treasures back with me. So let's also grab the stuff for a backpack. Well, I was gonna do that until I came across a creeper with a singing backpack and thought to myself, it must be fate. So I killed him and took it for myself. Now I just upgraded a bit, and look at that storage. Now I'm off to find that city. Also, I've mysteriously developed the ability to double jump and assume that it has something to do with my spirit awakening and just me not realizing I could do it. Anyways, the compass says I'm right above the city here, so there's only one way forward. Here we go. It's been a minute since I've raided one of these, so let's stick to the safe side of things. Also, sorry for the kind of baked look. It's just so that you can see what I could see while I was here. Anyways, got a spell called Devour, some skulk stuff, little bit of amethyst, an onion ring, and some arcane essence. Over here looks promising too. Chest 2! Got a firebolt spell, Ring of Lightning Affinity, Ancient Knowledge Fragments, and more Essence. Chest 3 had an Angel Wing spell, which is genuinely the best thing I could have found here at all, and a hat. Also silence in another chest, so that's pretty cool too. We've officially made our way through the first section of this city. 3 more to go. Honestly, next time I do something like this, I think it would be fun to get a mod that lets me hold a lantern for light instead of just having to edit the video to let you see. Anyways, next chest had a Midnight Robe in it, which made me invisible at certain light levels and gave me a speed boost. And we're in a city where there's almost no light, so you can imagine how useful it is here. This chest over here had some shoes that let me run on water. Anyways though, apart from more spells, arcane essence, and 2 of these ruined books I mentioned before, there isn't really much to say for the rest of this trip. In fact, day 22 here was basically just me wandering around looking for anything else that was left in the last 3 sections. Good news is that there was, just nothing very important to mention, which is why this chest here with Ward was the last one I looted. I'm out of here and running on water to do so. Alright, so now that we're back home, we need to make a decision on what route of spellbook we should try and go for with the ruined books. The Ancient Codex is seemingly an all-round book, though it needs a few materials that are kinda out of the way to get for us. So I'm probably just gonna try and make the Dragonskin spellbook, as one of the bosses already resides in the end anyways, and the dragon needs to die one way or another. Speaking of spellbooks though, I finally made the enchanted one with some of that arcane essence I snagged from the ancient city. So now I can load this bad boy with some new spells from the city and get to trying them out. The first one is called Ascension, and it does that. The next one is Angel Wings, and it gives me a magical elytra. Combined with that double jump from Awakening Our Spirit, I can essentially just fly forever. And with that, our testing comes to an end for now, as my new ability to fly has made me want to grab some glowstone to begin working on something. We've mostly stuck to doing iron spell stuff so far, and frankly, I gotta show that I know different types of magic. So, who wants to learn about alchemy? To begin, we need a Philosopher's Stone. I know most people end with a Philosopher's Stone, but I'm different, don't worry about it. This stone lets us transmute things like this wood into a different type of wood. But if we take some smooth stone and obsidian and place it around the stone like this, we can get a transmutation tablet. Using this thing is pretty simple, if not a little confusing to explain, but basically everything in the world has value. Some things are more valuable than others, and that's fundamentally how transmutation works. This tablet specifically allows me to store this value, called EMC, and turn it into other things. Though specifically only things that I've taught the tablet to create by putting them into it. Also, due to the limitations of transmutation, only the basic aspects of the worlds can be transmuted due to the complexity of other things. AKA the mods just aren't compatible. Though with that being said, we want to use a transmutation tablet for something specific. To awaken my spirit further, I need to up my level, and to up my level, I need to use the level of my XP bar. My spirit level is equivalent to half my XP level, and I need to up that dramatically, so we're doing alchemy to obtain bottles of enchanting. And the most effective way for us to get EMC for this endeavor is to obtain emeralds. Hence why I'm putting luck onto our pickaxe, as well as swapped out its head for a cobalt one. And that's because I'm flying to discover an emerald peak. Ah, here we are. Okay, so what makes these emerald peaks unique is that not only can I find emeralds on the surface of the mountain like so, but there's also these emerald geode things where a ton of ore spawn. I only found 2 of them already and have 7 stacks worth of emeralds just in my inventory. So we're just setting up a waystone to get back here if it's ever needed. And now to put my emeralds into the transmutation tablet, giving us about 1,000,000 EMC each. Now I can stop here, get the XP bottles now, and just call it good. But where's the fun in that? Let's make dark matter. By taking a diamond block and surrounding it with some Aeternalis fuel, we can make some dark matter. We can then use 4 to make a block of dark matter, combine 3 dark matter with some more Aeternalis fuel to make red matter, then we can take 4 red matter and those dark matter blocks and put them like this to make a pedestal. And now I can make 3 more blocks that will let us generate infinite emeralds for EMC. So, welcome to the world, the energy collector, antimatter relay, and just quickly a detour for the watch of flowing time. But finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. The energy condenser. I've essentially made a magical solar panel relay now. But that watch that I made allows us to speed up time near the energy collectors, allowing us to generate even more EMC faster. Anyways, how this energy condenser works is that I basically put an item in here, and the other blocks that generate the energy will then put it into the condenser, allowing us to just duplicate a copy of the original item. Now I can just put some level 2 energy collectors on here, made with dark matter of course, with a few extra relays for more collectors to attach to, and we're generating infinite emeralds now. Man, no wonder why the bosses want me gone. I basically invented creative mode in 4 days. And now we're in the Nether looking for some ancient debris, which we got on our first bit of TNT, so that's pretty cool. Anywho, I'm setting my eyes on making magical armor to help us take on our first boss, the Ender Guardian. He resides pretty deep within the end and will be a pretty decent challenge for us simply due to the fact that I don't have a lot set up in the way of gear outside of our magic. But in order to ultimately make the netherite variant of the Iron Spell's armor, I need 3 stacks of arcane essence, so we gotta find a place to get some more. We can only find it in structures, and I honestly have a very good idea of where we can go to get some. Compass says that I need to dig here, and here we are. the Stronghold. We're specifically looking for certain rooms here. You see, Arcane Essence only has a chance to spawn in either the hallway chests or in a pantry room. But while I'm here, we may as well grab everything that isn't nailed down, and even then, that probably won't stop us much. Oh wait, here's one of the rooms. On top of a lot of essence, these rooms spawn with spells in them too, so we may end up swapping our setup around when we get back home. Found a few extra goodies here and there, but similar to the city, exploring this wasn't all too eventful. The mobs can't even see me, so it's not like it's a challenge to get around. Though I did find the portal room, so that's gonna be good in a few days. Though at the very least, we crossed the 2/3 waypoint of our Arcane Essence goal while searching here, so that's actually really good. Already heading out of the Stronghold and going home. Well, trying to, as I ran into something really cool looking. A spruce mansion. Ever since the bosses came along, factions like the Pillagers have grown in size dramatically, spreading far and wide to take advantage of the unrest. My personal theory is that when the Eternal Night comes, they want to control the infinitely spawning monsters. So we should probably keep stuff like that in mind as we go forward. I mean, if we fail, there's gonna be a lot more than just the bosses to worry about. Anyways, I skipped most of this place to battle the evokers on the top, snagging a totem for crafting later, and getting out of there when my hearts became red for the first time in I don't even know how long. Back at home, I realized I'd only got enough Arcane Essence for 17 cloth, and that's really just not enough for a full set. So we continue to be in need of more of this resource. Really wish there was a way to get it without all the rating structures though, as it's keeping me from actually making a better setup. Speaking of better setups though, let's make an arcane anvil like so. And this thing is used to upgrade spells by using higher quality inks on them. And the one that I've chose to be upgraded for now is going to be our primary attack going forward. One magic missile. So now let's strip all these unnecessary spells out of the book, replace them with the new ones, and get to testing out at least one or two of these. Sunbeam, I choose you! Whoa, okay, I can do that now. Go, Dragon's Breath! And of course, the simple yet honestly really good magic missile. I also got this one called the Recall that does just about what I expected it to do. So let's go try and find more essence again. Though doing it this way ended up with me fighting against an ice dragon. I recalled the way because he was keeping me from jumping, so that wasn't really fun. And just when I believed myself to be safe, it happened again. The giant chain swords are back and I knew what would follow. The assassins. Though this time I tried to dive bomb them as I had grown far stronger, but I was still apparently too weak to even damage them. So let's try and fix that, shall we? To a Nether fortress. Really just here for a blaze rod, but look at this place. Gotta see if there's some arcane essence around here. And there totally is. Unfortunately, the footage was lost for day 31, but I ran into a few more chests in the fortress that topped me off on arcane essence, so yay! But my pants broke somehow, and I'm not entirely sure how that happened. And I went back to the portal on foot instead of using my recall spell because I thought I could run into something else. Though I didn't, and now have 3 stacks exactly. So now I can make the arcane cloth I've been after, create the netherite battle mage gear, looking snazzy as always, and also setting up another watch because I want the infinite emerald machine to make emeralds faster. Now we're making the Eyes of Ender, and then taking a nice first rest on the world as the dragon awaits tomorrow. Here we go. Killed a pillager wizard on the way to the Stronghold, re-entered the main room, found the portal and placed the eyes in, and took the leap of faith. Welcome to the end. And here she comes. It's gonna be a typical dragon fight, but you know, with magic. Like for instance, we can take out each crystal with a well-placed shot from our magic missile, do the same thing to the dragon, snag some of its breath because you never know when I may need it, also bottled some end air for later use too, and then got real into weird moves to take on the dragon. But ultimately managed to do it with the power of raining magic bullets from the ground. And because of a few mods that I got, we shot up an XP by a stupid amount and awoke my spirit further. Literally got struck by lightning in the end doing that. But now my hearts are purple. Anywho, now I'm raiding an end ship for shulker shells. And an elytra, though that's kind of useless to us. But that's enough being here for now because the bosses will definitely find me if I choose to stay. After all, this is the domain of one. So away we go. And awakening my spirit further has made me realize that it's time to make better bottles of enchanting, and also upgrade my condenser with even more watches of flowing time. And I accidentally ended the recording of this day early, so I just slept so that my video files didn't get disorganized. Anyways, where I am now in my spirit awakening is the chi refinement stage. Mage. I want to go further beyond this though, and the upgraded bottles of enchanting that I mentioned will help me do so. The only problem though is that the current best one we have, the tier 6 bottle, costs around 7 million EMC to create, and for reference that is 7 stacks of emerald for every single bottle. So we're gonna fix that. How, you may ask? By making a basement, of course. The plan is basically to get another energy condenser set up down here that will make me higher levels of bottles of enchanting while I sit around and do whatever. It's genius, I know, but I may have discovered something that is slowing these things down, and it's gonna take me a few days to realize that, so sit back and watch me be stupid. Anyways, I want to enchant my armor and have this really cool enchantment table that will let me choose the enchantments I want on my armor and mind. Just need some crying obsidian for it. So we can take a regular enchantment table, some crying obsidian, another book, and some amethyst like this to get an enchanting infuser, and then do the same recipe again, but with netherite instead of amethyst on the infuser to get the advanced infuser. Gotta get some books set up for the enchanter, and now this thing is neat as I just toss what I'm looking to enchant into the thing, and then can adjust the levels of whatever my desired enchantments are. However, because it took so much arcane essence to make this armor, I'd like to also get mending on it. So I went to the village that I took apart to make my house, and discovered that the villagers are locked into a specific trade for some reason. Clearly the work of one of the bosses. So I want vengeance. Made a tier 8 bottle of enchanting worth over 100 million EMC, and a mending ring, which didn't work. And after a recreational visit to the Nether for some gas tiers, I popped the tier 8 bottle, and used a few tier 6s as well to achieve my next level of spirit cultivation. Foundation building. Now I can set up my new book, swap from the enchanted one I've been using, and then actually enchant my gear, and also discover that I can repair my armor in the infuser. That's pretty important too. And the last thing I did for this kind of setup was to take my transmutation tablet and turn it into something portable, allowing me to do alchemy from anywhere. Now, why did I do all this in rapid succession? Well, it's pretty simple. It's finally time to take on the Ender Guardian. So while I do some extensions to the basement with my newly created hammer, as well as broad shovel, we can get our last few things in order, like making another condenser for more XP bottles, and finally creating a weapon strong enough to actually help us take on the Guardian and all the other bosses for that matter. By creating dark matter tools, upgrading them to red matter, and then combining them into one thing, I can create something called the Red Guitar with a whopping 32 attack damage. Just gonna up my spirit one more time, and oh, I got something. By achieving the core formation stage, I managed to conjure a weapon into this world. One with 50 attack damage, a name I can't pronounce, and the ability to throw it like a boomerang. So I have decided to call it the Boomerang Blade. Also, I did it again, achieved the nascent soul level, and now don't have to eat. And my hearts have looped back into being that first yellow from before. And with that, once more, it's time. Over here in the end, there's the Ender Guardian's Stronghold, the ruined citadel. Somewhere in this place, the boss awaits. As does treasure. Found a Lexica Botania in here, so that's gonna be neat for what I got planned next. And after some searching around the labyrinth, I encountered one of the Guardian's end golems. He went down in a few hits, but this encounter tells me that we're getting close, as did the other two encounters as I went deeper into the stronghold, until I found a large room. And as I approached the center, he appeared. The End Guardian. Whoa, wait, he's behind me? This guy's no joke. Just a few attacks can put me into the right spot for a charged punch from this guy. His roar sends slowness into my body. Unfortunately, this guy isn't prepared for the power I've cultivated through magic and my blade. Or maybe he is, as he blew up the floor. And now he's sending purple spikes from the ground? Oh wait, never mind, we hit his final phase. He's definitely doing a struggle move here, but this is it. And we've done it. Boss 1 defeated. Got this cool gauntlet off of him, but that's it for us here. First victory in the bag. Now to prep for the next one. I kind of want to test out this arm thing. This guy looks like a good target. Huh, okay, so it drags enemies in. And when it isn't in my offhand, it just kills things. Interesting. Anywho, we're gonna start working through Botania. To begin, we need a lot of mystical flowers, but I can make them through alchemy once we have them. So I flew around gathering whatever ones I could find. That eventually took us in the direction of that gray dragon from before, so I killed it and went on my merry way. Also killed this sun warrior guy because he looked at me funny. And while continuing to look for flowers by night, I managed to up my spirit once again. I have achieved all levels of mortal cultivation and now have achieved the first level of unity with heaven and earth. Soul transformation, ooh. Anyways, I got every color of mystical flower on my brief adventure, so now it's time to get my alchemy on. Now is the awkward part where I realize that the house is too small to work on Botania inside. So we're clearing space and making a circle. I think just having a designated place for Botania is a great idea, as I know it will need it as we learn more and more about the magic of the world. Too bad there's a mountain in my way. Don't know why, but this feels awfully familiar. Enough references to other videos. Back to circles. Double circles, actually. Maybe even triple. So now I'm grabbing dirt by hand, mostly because when I create dirt using alchemy, it's unable to be used with the builder's wand. I mean, just look at how much faster this is compared to placing it by hand. So a little manual labor here and there never hurt anybody. And now I'm gonna make a central hub area sort of deal just because I think will look nice. Kinda wish I thought ahead on this, as I probably would have placed something like a mana pool at the center area if the measurements had been odd, but I stupidly made them even. Though either way, I think it looks at least decent, just a little useless. Anyways, upping my cultivation level further, and even managing to conjure a second weapon into the world. Now I'm at the body integration stage, so my soul is now part of my body. Pretty sure it already was, but now it's official, I guess. Anyways, this new weapon lets me create a twister that does 100 damage to whatever is unfortunate enough to cross my path. Therefore, I shall call it the Twin Spin of Wind. Yeah, I can workshop that one a bit. Anyways, on top of that, another level was achieved, so now I'm at my Great Ascension, whatever that's supposed to mean. Back to Botania, though. If I take some cobblestone and petals from a mystical flower, I can create something called a petal apothecary. Oh boy, there's a portal in the sky. The assassins are back, but this time I'm ready for them. Before, I wasn't even strong enough to damage these guys, but now I'm a little too strong for them, as they don't even seem to target me anymore. Compare the me I am now to the me I was 40 days ago, and it's night and day, I guess. Seem to have even driven them off this time instead of just waiting for them to leave. Who knows if they'll be back anytime soon, though. Anyways, the petal apothecary lets us make new flowers by tossing materials in, followed by a seed. For instance, that recipe got us these lovely pure daisies, which can imbue logs and stone with a small amount of mana, transforming them into living wood and living stone. Hey, I figured out what was wrong with my energy condensers. 3 just doesn't cut it. So today was spent making more condensers. The funny part about these is that they're actually called power flowers. Has that ever been relevant till now? No, but it's because of that I made each and every one of the new ones look like a flower. Anyways, though, while those are generating more bottles of XP, we're gonna make some living rock, like so. And just quickly gonna make a wand of the forest out of living wood sticks and petals. And now, with our living rock, we can make a mana pool and a diluted mana pool. These pools are a place to both store mana and infuse things with mana. However, we need to be able to actually get mana into those pools. That's where this mana spreader comes into play. These bad boys are basically the wires of Botania. And with something to generate mana, I'm gonna go with endoflame flowers, which make mana by burning things like coal. We can link the flowers to the spreaders, and then get a bunch of mana flowing into the pool. Now I can throw some iron into this thing and receive mana steel. I can also do this with diamonds to receive mana diamonds, ender pearls to receive mana pearls, and string to get mana infused string. Now I can make a mana diamond, give it a few bits of living rock, and create a runic altar. This bad boy is a little self-explanatory, as it allows us to create runes for crafting. Also, random aside, but I leveled up my spirit again yesterday while I was working on the power flowers and conjured a new staff that shoots lightning into the world. Anywho, I made some mana steel armor. Just look at how cool this stuff looks. Set it up on an armor stand, and then made something called an assembly halo. It creates this ring around me that lets me have a crafting table wherever I go. Now I'm making some mana string because I want to see what armor it can make, though I got a little sidetracked doing that and made something called mana powder out of gunpowder. But this is pretty useful, as we need the stuff to make runes. So we're gonna do that, and how that actually works is basically I toss all the materials onto this thing, send mana into it, and then wait a moment before mana sparks start to fly off of it, place a bit of living rock on there, and then tap it with the wand of the forest, and then I can make a rune. Anywho, now that I've taken some time to do some productive things, let's just up my spirit again, and whoa, what the heck is happening to me? Huh? What? Why do I got green particles around me now? Oh, it's because I've become a true immortal? And apparently true immortals have access to creative mode flight? Oh man, the bosses aren't gonna be able to deal with me anytime soon. Anyways though, the rune that I just made was the water rune, and the next one I'm looking to make is the earth one, which needs a mushroom, which I somehow don't have. The search for one took me to the Nether because I somehow couldn't find one in the overworld. But with that one earth rune coming up, followed by an easy one with the mana rune. Next rune I'm looking to make is the wind rune, like so. And then the fire rune, though that one needed me to get my hands on Nether wart. Honestly, what's up with me missing funguses from my transmutation tablet? Anyways though, fire rune obtained. Now the reason I was working to make all those runes is pretty simple. I was trying to make the terrestrial amalgamation plate, whatever that's supposed to mean. I don't know how to pronounce that. By making a pattern like this and then putting the plate in the center, I have everything I need to make something called Terra Steel. How that works is I put a mana pearl, diamond, and steel onto the plate at the same time, and then pour a ton of mana onto it. Unfortunately, it may be a lot more mana than I can generate at the moment. So I tried doubling the amount of flowers I had powering the plate, but that didn't work. Then I decided to try and make a new flower using 2 runes called the Winter Rune and the Rune of Gluttony, but this munch dew that I made consumes leaves, and honestly, there really isn't a good way to feed it that without constantly placing leaves. So I made another new rune called the Summer Rune, and then made another generating flower called the Gormalius, whatever that is, that basically just eats food. Problem is that it's just the endoflame we started with, but with food, so that's not gonna be it for this either. So I took a detour to do some of the advancements in Botania, but learned that some were completely unobtainable as I can't eat anymore. Stupid mortal advancements. But that got me thinking about what made me the way that I am, and I realized that the best course of action was to make a flower that could take from my levels to generate mana. So may I introduce you to the Rosa Arcana. And this was definitely doing the trick until I opened my book to do some research and my items disappeared as they are considered to be on the ground even though they're on the plate. So we're back to using the endoflames and just using more, like 32, and hoping that it will be enough. And I'm astonished to say that it was actually doing a decent job at filling the mana pool. Now, the one thing I was curious about at this point was how much mana it took to make a single ingot of Terra Steel, and was not prepared to be told that it took half of one of these mana pools just to make one. To be clear, that is more mana than I've generated and stored in the last 8 days of Botania. But with this amount of endoflames, I did it, and then I can use these little guys called sparks to transfer the mana from the pool to the plate and finally get my hands on some Terra Steel. Now that we got our hands on Terra Steel, I want to set up a place where I can actually generate enough without messing with our main pool. So we can have a whole thing over here, but generating mana with one set of spreaders and flowers needs a near constant amount of attention and time, neither of which we have too much of at this point. So even though this may look ridiculous right now, I can't deny that all these lasers don't look cool. And hey, we get Terra Steel out of it too, so I'm not complaining. So now that I have more of the stuff, we can begin making new things, like this Band of Aura. Quickly just make it into a greater one with one of the Terra Steel. And what this one lets me do is passively generate a small amount of mana. Mana that can be stored in this Band of Mana. So if I ever have an emergency and need some extra little bit of mana for something, I got that thing on me. Anyways though, who wants to make a portal to Elfheim? It's said that long ago, the elves were the original keepers of the land, stewards of the forest, till one day they just vanished. It's unknown why they left. Starvation maybe, banishment, voluntary exile. I'd hedge my bets on maybe the bosses having something to do with it, but who knows though. What is known, however, is where they went. A little place called Elfheim, and this portal will let us reopen communications with them. Unfortunately, needs a lot of mana to open, and we already went over my mana troubles making the Terra Steel. Luckily, the portal can draw from multiple mana pools with this special crystal on top, so we can have a stockpile of mana at the ready when I want to open the portal. Also, just quickly important to mention, I took a detour to make a flower that eats explosions for mana quickly because I want to use it later on down the line. And then I built another funky dirt tower thing to power my tools. Also had to move the portal up a block as it didn't consider the pools to be in range. But by clicking this with my Wand of the Forest, we can power the portal up and then toss my Lexica Botania book in. That got us an upgraded version of the book that the elves wrote in to tell me that they like it in Elfheim now, but they are down to trade me rare resources to them, like mana steel and pearls for things that are just completely unheard of in this world, like Elementium or Pixie Dust. They even offer me a new type of wood that is better at conducting mana than living wood for living wood, Elven Quartz for Nether Quartz, and basically just a ton of stuff for a ton of stuff. But now we can say the portal to Elfheim is officially complete. Now to begin using these Elven mana spreaders. They're basically just super powerful versions of the normal mana spreaders that can output even more mana faster, making them really useful for what I plan to make next. Also, the dirt tower for the Terra Steel is bugging me, so I'm covering up with trapdoors. But with this interdimensional advancement, we can set our eyes on the next boss, the Gaia Guardian. But before we take on the next boss, I want to try something. I mentioned how I made a flower that eats explosions a few days ago, and I'm curious to see how much mana I can actually get by making a setup for it. So how this works is that I have a condenser to make TNT that just pumps into a dispenser that deploys the TNT into an obsidian block to prevent it from blowing things up. The explosion itself is then harnessed by the flower and then converted into mana that the elven spreader rapidly shoots into the pool. And just to make it a little bit better, we can strap a combined mana lens onto this thing with potency and velocity modifiers to make it run even faster. And boom, mana problem solved. Though making Terra Steel over here still looks cooler. Anyways though, I made something called the Terra Blade, not to be confused with the Terra Blade weapon from Terraria, but basically the same thing, and then upgraded it into the Starcaller, which is supposed to call down stars from the sky, but I think it might be bugged. Either way, I plan to fight the Gaia Guardian with it, but to fight that thing we need a beacon, meaning we need Wither Skulls, meaning I need to make a new weapon from Tinker's Construct. If I take a Broad Blade, Large Plate, and 2 tough handles, I can create a Cleaver with Severing 2 on it. Just quickly make it Severing 3. And now when I kill something, there's like a 25% chance that it drops a head with this sword, and that may be higher as just about every skeleton here seems to drop its skull, so I got what I needed. So just quickly one-shotting the Wither, and then making that beacon. But now I have to make an arena. The last boss had one because I basically rocked up in his fancy bedroom, but this one doesn't have that same luxury. Also, slightly frustrating thing, remember when I mentioned needing to dig dirt because only natural blocks were compatible with the Builder's Wand? Well, this is one of those situations that makes me question why transmuted items don't work properly. It's actually a really weird issue as they don't stack with broken blocks either, so I don't know what's causing this issue. It's like they're counted as something completely different. Anyways though, just putting the last few touches on this, and then setting up the summoning ritual. Gotta quickly make these things called Gaia pylons, set them up here, and now with a right click on the beacon holding a Terra Steel, it's time. The Gaia Guardian is here. And he looks like me? Like, actually just a dark version of my skin. Well, until he became TV static and began summoning monsters to fight me. I don't know if I really want to unpack the fact that out of every form this boss could have chosen, it chose me. Is this supposed to say something about how I'm taking on the role of the boss? Oh, wait. He had a heart attack or something because I don't think he was supposed to die that way. Boss 2 down, I guess? Man, and to think I was about to have some kind of uncomfortable revelation or something of that sort. May have to do a refight though, as he's supposed to have some extra things for Botania. Did that refight, same result though. Nothing else was dropped. So I guess it's time that I hone my spirit further. Since I hit level 1000 and became a true immortal, spirit growth has slowed dramatically. So I'm finally checking out this mod's crafting stations. And man, these are definitely a little gaudy. I have a lot of thoughts on this mod and I'll share them at some point, but for now I discovered a way to get more levels by making these weird flame things. By making this ring thing like so, I can absorb the spirit levels of attacking mobs. And it works pretty well as I get struck by lightning every 1000 levels or so, and this got me to that next point. Not actually achieving a new spirit level, by the way, just a milestone to the next one. Anyways, we're swapping from Botania to Ars Novu now, starting with making a tier 1 spellbook. Honestly, I probably should have started with this one because it's more of a playstyle rather than just attacks or a set of goals like the other two have been. Also, similar to Botania, we need a unique spot to set everything up for this mod at. Therefore, I shall make the long-awaited Wizard Tower. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of just winging this build. Well, I mean, I usually wing all my builds, but I wasn't too impressed with that arena that I built when it came to making it a circle. Maybe I'm starting to lose my touch. Oh, hey, next spear level. And I'm under attack again. But that new level gave me a new sword that has the ability to shoot spikes out. So I shall call it the Blade of Needles. Oh, and these guys are pretty good up in my spirit level 2 or something like that, I don't know. And to think, these guys are the ones that killed me at the start and took all my things. Now I take their lives and spirit levels for my own. Anyways though, back to my tower. I don't really want a big hole all the way up the tower to be at the center of my room on the top, so I need to make a level in here just to offset it as I go up and down because I think it may look cooler that way. No full walls on top either. Just supports. Supports for this heavenly immortal's roof. Oh geez, another attack. Anyways, we're gonna see if my roofing skills have improved since the tower on the house. Still thinking about how bad that looked. And this one is quite a bit better. Just a little wonky still though. Problems with winging a build, I suppose. Anyways, to actually get started in ours, not just making a place, we need to create source gems. So we need one of these archwood trees, and then we can craft an imbuement chamber with some gold. A lot of them actually. And what these let me do is place some amethyst inside, and after about a minute, retrieve source gems, harnessing the mana of the world in a completely new way. Now we can take our source gems and make some source stone by surrounding a gem with stone, and then use that stone to create an enchanting apparatus, arcane core, and arcane pedestals. With these in my possession, I can create a multi-block structure that lets me do the crafting in this mod, though I gotta admit there isn't much for us to actually craft anymore. Though there is definitely one thing I can craft. Remember when I mentioned Mage Bloom 50 or so days ago? Well, I can place 4 source gems onto these pedestals, and with a seed in the center of the enchanting apparatus, we can make a Mage Bloom seed. Maybe do this a few more times. And now I got a Mage Bloom farm going. Anyways though, the point of this mod is highly customizable spells, but I can't make any without more glyphs. That's where this mod's scribe table comes into play. Just give me a second, I'm making something called a source jar quickly, and I know that it breaks the pacing, but just trust me, it's important to mention, even though it's not the thing I was literally just talking about. But if I right-click the table with my book, I get a whole list of the glyphs that I can make. And by selecting a new glyph, I can toss the requested items onto the table, and after a few seconds, obtain a brand new glyph to make new spells with. Unfortunately, everything we can make right now is meant for early game. To make better glyphs, we need something called essence, which can be obtained by surrounding an imbuement chamber with pedestals that have some kind of item to focus a source gem into a new form. Unfortunately, this process takes several minutes. So while that's going on, I'm gonna set up a source farm. Similar to Botania, Ars Novu is kind of like a tech mod in some aspects, and in this case, we can harness the magical energies of the world by using something called source. To generate source, I need something called a source link, and in this case, I've decided to use a mycelial link as it makes source by eating food. And the reason I want to use these ones is pretty simple, honestly. These source berries, the thing I was all excited about on like day 4, they can be used in the source link. Well, only alongside a little furry companion. These are the starbunkles, squirrel-like creatures that will automatically harvest the source berries and put them into a storage that they're linked to. In this case, some hoppers. Anyways, a few adjustments to the berry reactor, as its creator, Grinner's Gaming Academy, calls it, and we're done with source generation for now. And our essence is done, this one being the essence of abjuration. So now we can make some better glyphs. Also, gotta say this now, I don't think I'll be including the spirit mod in the full release of the pack. I have a lot of reasons for that, but just know for now that while it's been very cool, it breaks so many things. Like iron spells just doesn't work anymore, and that's quite frustrating because it did. Nothing a nap can't fix though. Wow, that nap lasted a while. Anyways, I'm going to set up extra chambers for other types of essence. Most of the glyphs I can make now are locked behind essences other than the current one we got cooking, so hopefully this is what I need to complete my collection. Also doing a little starbuncle catching, as I may have killed the previous ones on the whole reactor setup just because you know, I may have fired a stray magic blast. It's whatever, the police don't know. And during the night, I was back to making glyphs. Like a lot of them. Maybe one day I should do a video all about this mod. And maybe most of the mods in this pack anyways, as I've really only been scratching the surface for each one. Oh, also, I'm beginning to run low on something called Wilden materials. Wilden are creatures from beyond this world. Terrible abominations that shouldn't exist. However, since they do, their parts make for some really good magical components. But there are only 2 ways of getting their drops. Either find them in chests or summon them to our world. I chose the latter option with this ritual brazier and tablet that I made with some pieces that I still had. And with a right click, we got some disgusting weird creatures invading. But I got the things I need to make more glyphs. Honestly, I'm really realizing that I should have started with this mod, as I only am just getting to the useful glyphs for this stage of the game I'm at. I know I was just talking about revisiting the mods, but maybe in the future I just revisit this pack in general and just do things in a different order. Like this should be number 1, but until that happens, I just gotta accept that I messed up. Though I will say, if anything about this journey of just gathering more glyphs, I am technically the most intelligent wizard to ever live. I mean, I was already the most powerful, but power doesn't mean intelligent. I don't really know what it means in this context, honestly, but that's whatever. Anywho, with our current completion of glyphs, I see no reason to not prepare for the last of the 3 bosses, the Wilden Chimera. But if we plan to fight, I want a cool spell to use on the guy. Thinking something with explosions, or spikes, or spiky explosions. Oh, maybe even fireworks. Though for one of these glyphs, I need to head to the ocean monument, like so. We're hunting elder guardians like this big fella for a sponge. But I took it to the Nether to dry it out, placed it down, and realized I still had mining fatigue, so I had to wait for it. But a job done well, as in the end, I can now make more sponges with alchemy. And that glyph too. But I think this is the last glyph I want to make for cool spells. Now to fiddle with things for customization, maybe? Okay, well, I spent all day trying to make a spell, but you'll never guess what mod apparently broke this one too. So if we apparently can't even use the things that I've spent so much time working towards, we may as well get rid of the last big bad at this point. So how summoning the Wilden Chimera works is I toss one of each of these Wilden pieces onto the brazier, put my Summon Wilden tablet in, and then get to the fight. He summons wolves and things to try and take me on, but it's no match for the awesome might of my... I think I just two-shot him. Hey, look, he came back. Gotta punch him this time as my sword does way too much damage. And see, he's now actually getting to do stuff. Like he's covered in spite. Oh, well, alright, I guess we win. That's it in general, too, as that was the last of the 3 bosses. Day saved, I guess? Oh, joy. Who wants to see what else we can kill, though? Actually, all bets are off now as you don't have goals anymore. It's just go out and see what strong guys we can make not so strong anymore. So, we're pulling out the Adventurer's Compass, and we're on a journey. Found a dragon with a death wish. A fairy with one, too. And my true greatest enemy. Chunks not generating fast enough as I'm outpacing the culling of the rest of the world. Kinda looks cool, though, when you turn back to see what it all looks like. However, since I want this to still look somewhat decent, I swapped to traveling on foot. Found a frostmoth that was just vibing, and honestly, I couldn't stand for that. Deep within the mountains, I continued to explore before encountering a nice winter lodge with some villagers inside. Thought I could stay for the night, but they got like 6 people to a room here, and I just don't want to deal with that, so I'll just see myself out. But then I came across this ancient monastery, and at the center, someone who I had much to learn about spirit cultivation from. The Monkey King, Sun Wukong. At least I think. Gonna have to come back to this though, as this is not what we're looking for at the moment. I appear to have time traveled very slightly, as it's night for some reason again. Think it's all the chunks I've been generating. Ah, but there's the thing we've been traveling to. Think it's some kind of temple thing for fears or something. I'm not sure. I will name this spot the Valley of Fears though. I found this sword in the stone near my house and thought, what the heck? Pulled it out and was revealed to be the chosen one, wielder of Excalibur. Too bad for whoever made that prophecy, as we kinda already knew that. I mean, I took everything down already, did all my goals. I even completed them early, technically. Anyways, I looked into some of the things that we can still fight, and one thing does stand out to me. A creature known as the Leviathan. That thing spawns in the ocean, though. Specifically, the ruins of a city forgotten by time. A sunken city, if you will. Just trying to figure out where it could be, though. Or, well, I do know exactly where it's at thanks to the compass, but it's slow getting there due to chunk generation. Ah, but there it is! Just gotta find the entrance, and we're immediately dealing with some fish, people, creature things? And their pet coral monster thing. Corallosis. Though, I'll be honest, I need a gem to summon the Leviathan, so give me a few days and I'll come up with it at some point. In the meantime, though, I really want to know about this Excalibur I found. Luckily, the Taramity guidebook has everything I need, including even more bosses for me to take on. Ones that want to make rivers run red, eradicate adventurers like me, and install a 3-day work week, so I guess they aren't all bad. First one of these guys, though, is the Gnome King, and he lives in something called the Citadel of Gnomes. Specifically, I think he's this guy, though I need a gnome hat to reawaken him. We get those by trading one of these guys a diamond for their hat, then we put it on the statue, and get to battling Gob, King of Gnomes, who actually doesn't die in one hit. In fact, since the End Guardian, this is the greatest battle I've had, and to think it came from a jacked gnome named Gob. Honestly, the bosses should have recruited this guy instead of the Chimera. He did, however, get one shot by my blade of needles, so maybe it was just the fact that I chose to use the Excalibur for that fight. Either way, though, I gotta prep for the next one now, as I'm pumped to see where this goes from here. Starting with turning my Excalibur into the hero sword, though I need a special gem to do so. One that is made from a bunch of smaller gems, with me specifically only missing a sapphire. Also, I managed to achieve what will likely be my last level of spirit cultivation for these 100 days. And I'm now officially very immortal. Anyways, though, sapphires come from cold biomes, so we gotta go adventuring once again. Found a forest lodge, so that was neat. Another temple filled with fears on a beach. A beach of fears, if you will. And then a giant ice fortress. So you know we kinda gotta explore in that thing, right? Like, I'm just saying, I'd be a bad adventurer if I didn't. To be honest, this place looks really neat. Makes me think that I probably should have focused on exploration more in this. Though that's something that fits live commentary better. These aren't that. These are more about my highlights and how I got to them. For instance, this guy I found behind that door from a moment ago is Maledictus, who died. Anyways, back to the original goal. We're in these snowy places for sapphires, and I'm not really finding any up here. So down we go. However, even down here, I'm not finding all too much. Well, Well, until I stumbled across a chest with the one and only one that I was really looking for, just out of the blue randomly, so that's neat. Back at home, I crafted a prismatic jewel with nearly all the gems I found up to this point. Even the weird sparkly ore from like day 9, so it all comes full circle again. But here's the bottleneck. To progress further, I need to obtain better ores than netherite, and to do that, I need netherite tools, which isn't an issue, but the real problem is upgrading them beyond netherite. It starts with finding stellar remnants in the end. Similar to netherite, this stuff can be smelted and then crafted into a metal called cosmite. But also like netherite, I need a smithing template to upgrade my netherite stuff to cosmite. The problem, however, is that template comes from the next boss we need to fight, the Super Sniffer. Now you might be thinking to yourself, oh, DevGen, that's not a problem, it's on the way. And to that I say, well, you aren't wrong, but summoning the thing is an issue. You see, I need to strike a sniffer with lightning. Do you have any idea how long it takes to get a sniffer? 10 minutes to hatch on moss, 40 minutes to grow. That is 2.5 days dedicated to getting one guy to have one shot at the fight. It's just a lot of time this close to the end. However, the snifflet did hatch today, but immediately died to a stray lightning blast caused by me sneezing in real life. So we had to set up another one to cook while I secured a way for us to hit the guy with lightning. For starters, we can summon a storm using a cloud shaping ritual, and then hit him with a channeling spear. Note that I said spear and not trident, as I don't really have a way to farm trident rounds for one, but I can kill these fish guys trying to get their spears, like so. But as I'm enchanting, I'm kind of realizing I will one-shot the sniffer probably before it transforms if I hit it. Just at all. Simple solution. Yeah, that works. Now it's just a waiting game. Hey, look, that gem for Leviathan turned up finally. Also, I'm realizing that we don't need the sniffer to upgrade our tools. This mod adds multiple materials of the same tier, and I just discovered that one is totally obtainable right now. Dim light. Dimolitite? Dim light. Made with this dark blue ore over here. We just combined it with some echo shards I transmuted and we got ourselves 12 dim light. Only need one for my pickaxe though, as my skin is tougher than any armor I wear. Oh, and if you're curious where I got the smithing template from, as that's the whole reason we need to fight the Super Sniffer, the Goblin King dropped this one. But now we can mine this ore, iridium. I need this stuff to combine the souls we've been getting here and there into one super soul for our hero sword. But it can't do too much on its own right now, so we're just waiting by the sniffer. Actually, hold on, I should probably make a few backups just in case the sniffer doesn't make it, right? It's the only logical use for my time, right? But after that, it's just back to waiting. But wait, I shall no longer. Pretty sure I got a ritual for this somewhere. Just need wood from this green tree. And with a bone block in the brazier, we should be able to make this guy grow. Oh wait, I need source. I'll just grab you. And look, he's all grown up. Now to strike him with lightning and begin the battle against the Super Sniffer. And he immediately broke the arena. The shockwaves of his attacks launch me upwards, which is kind of interesting to say the least. But he goes down just like the others who came before. What's going on? Oh geez, did he just become a Super Saiyan? And shoot me with the Kamehameha? What the heck? Like I said for the Gnome King, if the bosses had chosen these guys, they may have actually been a challenge. What's he doing now? Oh, that's a spirit bomb. Wait, does him using this on me make me evil? Whoa! My arena! Oh good, it's over. Wow, that fight got intense. Probably the best one so far, actually. Oh, and look at this, I can do an energy blast now. So I decided to fight him a few more times because at this point, all I really want is a good fight. With that done though, I can set my eyes on our next conquest. The Trial. Well, actually, I think I'll take up playing the Ocarina first. So I've been finding songs that I can apparently load into this and play, and when I do that, it gives me buffs. Not too useful to me due to my spirit level, but I can see the use in a different context. Anyways, off to the Trial Tower. And a random boat generated inside of it, so it's been bisected. I may actually need to find a different one, as I don't think the boss will spawn in this. Oh, and also no real trials in this one either, so. Okay, so I located another trial tower, this time in one of these lush stacks biomes, which are really cool, and I want to build something in one of these at some point. I could run through the trials, but that won't let us get to the Trial Guardian. No, instead I gotta go below. And then open this lock. And admittedly, this boss is kind of a disappointment. I mean, compared to the last few in this mod, it's not a contest. But honestly, that's a minor complaint, as it's still more fun. And the guy is dead. Ended up with this item called the Perish Staff, which lets me decay bedrock and then mine it to get its dust. A key component in our hero sword. However, next I need something called Black Matter, which can only be obtained on the Nether roof. Whoa, look at what I found up here. Oh, but here's what I'm after. Only needed a few as I can make more using those super souls I talked about for the sword. But now it's time to upgrade my pickaxe once again. And the easiest thing for me to go out and find at the moment for this is gonna be a material called Hellspec alloy. But I need more iridium for that. And combining it with black matter and chthonic crystals, I can make Hellspec bars. Quickly upgrade an iridium pickaxe I also made with it, and finally I can mine this profanium stuff. But to get much more use out of it, I need more iridium. You see, I need to make more Hellspec bars, and then turn them into an unholy lance, which if I then throw into the sky, nothing happens because the spirit mod glitched every projectile not from that mod, so yay! Now our plans of making the hero sword are dashed because this mod I threw in on a whim decided to not play nice. So let's go fight the Leviathan. Deep within the sunken seas lies a primordial evil. Below the water sits an altar, and if I activate it with a crystal, we get the Leviathan, a terrible monster and runner-up for the 3 bosses. He looks sick, but is kind of a pushover due to where we're at right now. And boom, he's gone. Man, I really gotta redo these fights in a different format as the way I make these just doesn't do them justice. Oh boy, and the spirit mod once again breaks everything as now I can't land on the ground properly due to it deleting projectiles. Specifically, a grappling hook item that I got from the Leviathan, so now I just kind of float off the ground and I have to fly permanently to do much. So let's just take my anger out on some dudes in the Nether, yeah? Yeah. Man, being unable to actually land on the ground is way more inconvenient than you'd think. Anyways, though, I think I have an idea on how I can throw that lance into the sky for real this time. I just need a little bit more iridium to craft everything again. However, I think these caves are officially tapped out of the stuff because I'm not finding anything. So, welcome to 5,000 blocks out. And below we go. I think we got some deep dark around here, but it's just dark in general, so I'm not entirely sure. What I am pretty sure about is that, yeah, that was the issue because we got plenty of bars now. So, one lance coming up, but with a special guest appearance from our good friend, the Dispenser. Hopefully if I click this, aw, dang it. Well, I tried. The only other way that I could think to do it would be to try to get a drowned or something to equip it and then throw it at me, but at this point, that's just way too much work. So I guess we don't get our hero sword. However, that doesn't mean we shouldn't finish the progression of the mod. Part of the reason that I took my anger out on those dudes the other day is that they dropped a special little cloth that if I put into this, summons the Wizards of Shadow. The green one is named Cersei. The blue one is Merlin. Powerful mages whom guard the truly most powerful wizard. Defeating them is a cakewalk though, as I've learned a power far greater than any kind of magic. The power of a sword! But if I want to prove that I'm still the best wizard, I need to beat their master, Archmage Gundalf. Just like me though, he's learned a power far better than any magic. The power of gun. I literally brought a sword to a gunfight. But that doesn't seem to matter too much as this is a battle to decide who's the strongest wizard. My magic may be broken, my sword weaker than his guns. But I haven't beaten the one thing that truly matters. In a battle of mages, it's the one with a stronger spirit who will win. Ooh, and now I've claimed one of his guns for myself. Can't seem to load even with the right ammo though. Probably a remnant of one of the 3 bosses. Knowing I'd be too strong if I could use gun. Well, I'm the strongest wizard now, officially this time. Even made a lightning scepter to celebrate. But we still gotta prove that I'm the strongest in general. So I upgraded my scepter to a staff, took a nice long look at my destroyed arena, and then looked around for a new spot to make a final arena, which I found, but I need to flatten the area and still can't figure out why alchemy items don't work with the construction wand. But I mean, hey, digging up dirt by hand is working pretty well, so, you know, I can't complain. Just hoping by putting this one on the ground, it holds up better to this guy compared to the last one. I'm going with a very similar palette to the last arena I built, mostly because I doubt there will ever be another time I get to use this much prismarine. I like the block, okay? It's a good block. But I think something around this size is probably perfect. Well, actually, a few more layers never hurt anybody. And now to build some things to hide behind. That'll need them as I am immortal. But it's the thought that counts. Oh, and let's even make some diagonal ones since they'll probably protect me better than the ones that we just made. Oh, and also a nice wall on the outside to keep this guy in the arena. Had to go to the end quickly to get my hands on enough obsidian that I could use with my builder's wand so that I, am not doing this the entire day. And now one of those backup sniffers is here to come in handy. Now you may be confused as I already fought the super sniffer, like multiple times now. How could this guy be the strongest? Well, it's simple. He was holding back on me. If I get him down to 10% health in his super phase and then strike him with lightning again, he awakens to his true strength. The Ultra Sniffer is here. And this guy is way more dangerous now, armed with stronger stomps, slams, and of course, beams. But I won't lose. Not to this. He may have some extra firepower, but it's nothing in the face of my sword. Wait, what's he doing? Oh, jeez, he has Ultra Instinct? I was not prepared for this guy to start pulling out divine techniques on me. Teleport, maybe, but this? I don't know. Either way, though, this proves he is my most worthy adversary. It's not every day I get to meet somebody else who has achieved the power of the gods. Me through spirit cultivation, magic, and a sword. Him through experience, technique, and a double dose of lightning. Perhaps this is the battle we've both been waiting for. One where the two of us could go all out. Though there is something he doesn't know. I'm not using my strongest sword. Oh, jeez, clearly he wasn't using his strongest attacks either because I had to hop behind this wall to avoid this attack. Nobody else in this entire thing has made me duck behind cover before. Like I said, my most worthy opponent. But all good fights must come to an end. And with his defeat, we have officially proven ourselves to be the strongest, period. Just wish that meant I could stand on the ground normally or use non-ritual based magic again. And yeah, so that's the video, and I hope you enjoyed. Just throwing this here at the very end. This is the very last of these 100 days that I'm going to be doing, at least for a while. The hardcore ones aren't going anywhere, but the other ones just, they take too much time. I'm going back to school, and yeah, it's just not really worth keeping it up. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to go away for very long, because I have other videos in mind. Finally, actually working on them after years of promising things. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.